For the teenagers that are watching this that actually want to achieve something amazing, they actually want to achieve greatness and not be average and mediocre like every other teen is or every other person is, I have to explain to you what it takes to do this. Okay, so let's say, I don't know, let's say maybe you have a difficult situation at school right now. Let's say, there's a lot of kids making fun of you, or let's say, you're skinny, you want to become buff, and this kid comes up to you today and they say, oh, you're never going to end up becoming buff. You're just going to be skinny forever. You're never going to end up achieving your goals. You have to mentally use that as motivation, as fuel to prove them wrong. That is the equivalent to deflecting an arrow back towards your enemy that they shot at you, okay? So you have to use that as motivation in the gym that day to try harder than the other person will ever try. Okay, you have to use that as motivation to be like, you know what? F you, I'm going to achieve my goals. I don't care what you say. I'm going to try harder than you are. And as a result, I'm going to end up achieving my goals. And that's not an egotistical way of thinking. That is a realistic way of thinking, because if you put in more effort, the more effort you put in, the more you're going to get out. This is basic math that you have to understand, that I explained in my last video. And so, when I see people who are complaining, or dudes who are complaining, for example, in my wrestling, this is just an example, okay? Because there's a lot of times where multiple people in my wrestling would sit on the sidelines after losing their wrestling match. They'd be all sad and stuff, and they're like, wah, wah. They're like, well, I lost my wrestling match. I don't like this. This is sad and whatever. Well, it's like, whose fault is it? It's literally a singular person's sport. It is no one else's fault but yours. Okay, no one's going to do the conditioning for you. No one's going to learn the techniques and get skilled at it for you. It is absolutely all on you. It is absolutely all your fault if you lose the wrestling match. And this is not just my mindset for other people. This is my mindset for myself. This is what you guys have to keep in mind. And this should be your mindset too. Okay, because every time I lost my wrestling match, I gave a shit, but it was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to put in more effort next time and, outwork everybody else and beat them, and that was my mindset, because I was just not okay with losing, I was like, why lose, and yes, there was many wrestling matches that I lost, but I still tried. What matters is that you tried. That's the other thing that matters. Okay. If you actually try in the moment, because if you don't try, not only on the conditioning, but also in the wrestling match, and this doesn't just go for wrestling, by the way, this goes for life in general. I don't want to just use this analogy for myself. Then that's it. You're just failing. You're not trying. You're quitting. No one can help a quitter. Okay, I can't help a quitter. God can't even help a quitter. No one can help a quitter. Your parents can't help you. Literally, no one can help a quitter, because a quitter isn't willing to put in the effort. If you're not willing to put in the effort as a man, you won't end up achieving it. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say it. This is just how it is. Okay, and you might be thinking, if you're, I don't know, let's say you're 15, just like me, and you're watching this. You're a young man. You're like, oh, well, this doesn't go until you're older in life. And no, it goes now. This goes for everybody. This goes, even if you're 13 and you're watching this still goes for you, because if you put in more effort than everybody else in your class, or whatever situation you may be in, then you will end up achieving more goals and end up becoming better than everybody else at what you're doing, and end up, achieving a better situation. So this has to be your mindset. You have to be like, you know what? I'm fed up with the situation I'm in. I'm just going to put in more effort and end up achieving my goals, because I'm just not okay with being mediocre. That has to be your mindset. I just always wanted more. I didn't want to be mediocre like everybody else. Even when because as a kid, I wasn't willing to put in the effort, and I'm going to be honest about that. Like when I was younger, like about, I don't know, from like 5 to, maybe, I don't know, like 11 years old. I know it's a really young age, but I was still not really putting in enough effort, in my opinion, now when I look back on it. But when I think about it, I think I was still not okay with being mediocre. Like every time I saw someone who had more than me, I know this is really stupid because I'm talking about when I was like a kid, right? But every time I saw someone who wanted something more than, or had something more than me, I wanted to be better than them. I wanted to achieve something more than them. This is something, you might think, oh, I wasn't born with it, so I'm not going to end up achieving goals. But it's really the situation that you're in, okay? The people that you surround yourself with, if you're constantly scrolling or if you're constantly watching TV, that is what causes you to not have the right mindset and not think the way that I just explained to you. And you might think this is a bad way of thinking. This will make you miserable and not enjoy life. But it's really, in my opinion, I think it's the way to, I enjoy my life, honestly, because I'm still not okay with being mediocre. I'm not okay with it. And it doesn't make me miserable. It just makes me more, motivated to put in the effort and be more proud of myself as a result of putting in the effort and being consistent and being dedicated. That is a good thing. That is not a bad thing. So when I see people who say this is a negative mentality, it's like, what a negative mentality is being hard on yourself and saying, I'm not going to achieve your goals, and not being confident in yourself. That is a negative mentality. What is not a negative mentality is saying, I'm confident in myself. I will end up achieving my goals. I don't care what everybody else says. I'm going to end up achieving my goals, and I'm not okay with the situation I'm in. You have to not be okay. You have to get fed up about the situation that you're in. Otherwise, you won't be willing to put in the effort. Okay, that has to be your mindset. Okay, you have to be like, you know what, I just have to work as hard as possible because I'm extremely frustrated at the fact that I haven't achieved my goals. I'm not okay with it. You have to think about it this way. If you want to actually take action, you want to be willing to put in the effort. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. For all the teams who are watching this who are actually going to put in the effort, you know mentally that you are going to put in the effort and take action after this video. I have to let you guys know that you literally, if you quit in 2 weeks, no one can help you. Like I said, if you quit, okay, you are not going to end up achieving your goals. As soon as you quit, that's it. Everything's over. Okay, so you have to be consistent and continue working towards your goals. You can't just quit and then go back to it. Even if you go back to it, it doesn't matter. You quit it. So, are you really, you're going to lose that self-confidence permanently. So you cannot quit, okay? Do not quit. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. Other than that, that's about it. Thanks for watching.